us by giving to you,
It's the only reason.
and hearing it in the Spirit, receiving it in the Spirit.
It's the only reason
For
he
that
left us
purpose,
here.
yeah.
Yep, only reason. So he says, verse 16, wherefore henceforth know we no man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Christ after the flesh, yet now henceforth know we him no more. In other words, was Paul preaching about the nation at now, or is Paul preaching about salvation in Jesus Christ? He is. He's not preaching about fleshly ordinances and all. See, these things are all going away at this point. Y'all flip back to 1 Corinthians 6. Watch what Paul says here. First Corinthians 6:13. Tell you what, let's read verse 12 first. Paul says, all things are lawful unto me. Now, do you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean?
You can do
He
anything.
didn't have any law.
Paul could do whatever he wanted to do, couldn't he? Okay? Paul said, I can do whatever I want to do. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. See, Paul could do anything he wanted, but everything he wanted to do wouldn't be profitable, would it? Profitable for who? For the Lord, his owner. See, his owner. Now he said, all things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Now watch the example he's going to give. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats. In other words, he's talking about eating things. Jews were big on eating certain things and not eating certain things. Okay? But God shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. In other words, should we be using our body then to serve the Lord, or to serve some system of works?
Serve the Lord.
And serve the Lord. Don't let anybody tell you that fornication there's sex. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Verse 14. And God hath both raised up the Lord, and will also raise up us by his own power. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of a harlot? God forbid. Hey, I've been bought and paid for by the Lord. Am I now going to, as the Lord's possession, go get involved in idolatry? And no, that's absolutely wrong, isn't it? Imagine if you owned slaves, and these slaves, you fed them, you took care of everything they need. You come home and it was next door in the other guy's plantation working. Right? No, that wouldn't be a good thing, would it? Okay? See, we work for the Lord. Now he says here, what? Know you not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two saith he shall be one flesh. What is this harlot he's referring to? Religion. You guys, religion. But he that is joined unto the Lord is one spirit. Flee fornication. Is this talking about sex? No, it's talking about that religious idolatry. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. What? Know you not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. See, when a person comes to the understanding finally that Jesus Christ died for my sins, and the only reason I'm even alive today is because Christ died for my sins.
And to witness. I mean, you could, once you were saved, you could die the next day.
Yeah,
But it's a better purpose by staying here
it is.
and learning these things and be a witness for God to help other people see what you.
It sure is. And that's the work that can be done. That's the works that'll be judged. It ain't got nothing to do with all this junk the world talks about. See, what it's got to do with is, this man bought and paid for me, and he bought and paid for every person I run into. Whether they like it or not, he bought and paid for them. So what should my message be to them? He bought and paid for you. You know? That's what this thing's all about.
But if a person is saved and don't come to these classes, be led by the Spirit, they'll get off on the dog trail talking on their own.
Yeah.
That works for nothing.
You just go fall back into religion.
Yeah,
That's
you
all.
can't,
Yeah.
yes.
And what happens then, Paul says you become an unprofitable servant. In other words, you get out there, if I started, let's say I got y'all all together and we sat down and I told y'all how if we could get baptized and keep the Lord's Supper and do these things, would that be profitable to the Lord? No. See, I would be an unprofitable servant. To be profitable to the Lord, I got to tell you what the Lord did. That's what it's all about.
I'll say one more thing about that, and I hush, but it's something you taught us. Anytime you study, or anytime we come in this class, or anytime we approach someone that we're fixing to witness to, ask God to lead you by that Spirit, the things that talk to us, because like I say, I get off saying something that's not profitable, but if I ask God to help me say those things that have been taught to me, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You just got to trust the Lord and everything.
Yeah, everything. But I reminded myself of that because you find yourself trying to get, oh, I thank you for that. So no, you thank God, don't thank me.
And we always want to take the
Oh
glory.
yeah.
You see them all over the TV too, Troy. They always, these preachers are always talking about, well, you gotta do this. You gotta.
Yeah.
Well, I don't gotta. You know, that's where you know if you're receiving that real message. Because somebody who's preaching the real message or the true message is going to tell you, like you say, what Jesus did. They're going to tell you about the work he did, not anything that I have to do now. The job's already been complete.
Yeah.
And people are always trying to get in on that work of Christ and help what he did, all those years ago. And that's how, that's why I was texting you last week trying to talk to that lady who's just a diehard Catholic. And I know I was making sense to her because I was asking her questions and it was like she gave me the deer in the headlights look. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking I'm making some kind of headway and she just up and says, there's absolutely nothing that you can tell me that's going to make me stop being a good Catholic. And I said, okay, let's walk. There was nothing else I could say. But she didn't want to hear about what Christ did. She wanted to tell me about what she had been doing for the past 45 years.
See, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to take a break. We're going to, after having established all this, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. But there's something that a saved person has done. A saved person in his mind has crucified the flesh. A saved person in his mind has come to the acknowledgement and the understanding that he died on that cross. Then a saved person knows there ain't nothing I'm going to do in the flesh that's does nothing. God crucified that. See, a saved person put it away. I ain't talking about you drinking, smoking. Come on, folks, that's the nature of the flesh, and we're living in it. Forget about that. I'm talking about people that say they're going to do something in their flesh here, like Dale said, to add to what Jesus Christ did. No. A saved person has crucified the flesh. And Paul's going to show us that when we're going to take a break, and he's going to cover that. See, a person that belongs to the Lord, imagine you got some slaves and this joker just fights you tooth and nail. You're beating on him all the time because he just will not submit to the fact that you own him, right? Folks, that's just like a person today that wants to work in the flesh. See, you've got to come to the realization, the Lord bought and paid for me. It's done. It's finished. Now I belong to Him. Now I can fight that tooth and nail, or I can just go ahead and admit my flesh is crucified. That's only two choices. Okay. All right, let's take a break and then we'll go in all these verses.